Hey there fellow creators, Ben here from Cinderblock Studios, and I'm back with How to Be an Artist Part 13 now. Quantity, Quality, and Craftsmanship. Stick around. So I was recently rewatching a video that I actually really like going back to from time to time to give myself a little bit of a mental artistic push, and it's called Habits of Effective Artists, or Effective Habits of Artists, or something like that. Really good video. I'll link to it in the description box. And it's about a guy who it's kind of like a TED Talk, but not a talk, not a TED Talk, but it's separate from the TED concept. And it's about a guy who is like a 3D modeler that made a bet with his I think cousin or something like that, where it was like, I'm going to do 2D drawing, and if I get enough likes on ArtStation, then like I win, but if I lose, I have to give you $1,000, which creates an incentive for him to actually get better. And the talk is a lot about just over the course of his learning, and learning more than he knew in the first place, specifically about 2D drawing and painting, that he was able to learn and create effective habits, and kind of shared that through the talk, and both the habits that he learned as well as the habits that other artists, professionals of all kind of creative fields have employed, and things that he noticed through that. So one of the things he talks about is the quantity-quality issue. And I think that's a thing that a lot of artists kind of struggle with. I think of any level. I don't want to specifically say like beginners or anything like that, because I think all artists in all levels kind of have little hiccups with it. They're like, do I do a lot of artwork? Do I just do like a small amount of artwork, but really good stuff? And what struck me the most out of the talk was he used Picasso as an example, and like you think about the works of Picasso, you can think of maybe 5 or 6 off the top of your head. If you really think about it, maybe a dozen. But the statistic or the actual fact on him was that he, over the course of his life, and if you include like 90% of all the artwork that he's done, it was something like over 25,000 pieces, which is an insane number. Even looking at all the stuff that I've made over the years, that's a lot of artwork. So we're talking paintings, drawings, sculptures, like literally anything that he produced that was sort of like you might call finished, that has his name attached to it. Like 25, 30,000. It's like, whoa, that's a lot. So and part of the idea behind that is like, yeah, you might only know like the greatest hits of Picasso, but the fact is he put that many hours and that much effort into just creating more and more stuff. I mean, honestly, I think if I have 12 greatest hits by the end of my life, I'd say that's pretty good. But I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, is that they don't work enough. They don't realize that if you want to really be a successful artist, you have to produce a lot of stuff. Now, along the same lines of producing a lot of stuff, I also find it important to not reduce the production of projects to being low quality projects. You don't want to be like, we'll just throw that one out there. And obviously, if I do that from time to time myself, just trying to clear my head, and a piece comes out of that. But at the same time, there is a level of quality that you have to push towards. A bit later in the talk, the guy talks about sketching and learning. And that's kind of where quality, I think, mostly comes into play. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people forget when they start really looking at improving their artwork, is they think like, and a lot of artists will just say, you just got to practice more, you got to practice more, you got to practice more. And it's like, okay, you can practice all you want, but unless you're actually paying attention to what you're practicing, then it doesn't matter how many, you can doodle for 3 hours, or you can sit down for 20 minutes and really kind of study and see what kind of lines you're doing, and analyze them and see what you're doing wrong and improve upon that. Find a tutorial and follow the tutorial. Find a lesson on anatomy studies or landscape design or whatever, and take that stuff to heart and really kind of relearn it. There's a thing about relearning. I think I've talked about it in one of these parts, 11 or 9 or something like that, where I talk about going back to your basics. And it's something that I do every couple of years for that very reason. Simply going back and redoing color wheel studies or value studies or perspective studies, you can actually teach yourself stuff that you think you knew, but it's like, oh, I know 2-point perspective, I know 3-point perspective, but if you go and relearn it as if you're a beginner again, you might find stuff that you didn't know that you forgot, or things that you're like, oh, I thought I was doing it like the right way, but apparently I've been doing it wrong the whole time because I've thought that I knew it. So there's a whole section of if you're going to up your artwork and keep doing that quantity, which is good, you have to have like the quality level of that as well. You have to be able to kind of take a step back and say, no, don't think I know everything. And be able to consciously go after the improvement and be able to keep doing that. And that idea of doing it consciously, I think, is like the key here. It's like, if you want to do quality artwork, you have to be conscious about it. You can't just be mindlessly doodling. You can, but I mean, you have somebody who spends 12 hours doodling, and it's like, well, I'm practicing. It's like, no, you're not practicing, you're doodling. Doodling's fun, but you're not paying attention to what you're doing. And that's sort of that quality-quantity thing. Another thing that's kind of been on my mind this week is I was thinking about craftsmanship a lot. And I actually had to look back through, I did a live show, again, I'll link that below. It was Cinderblock Studios Live episode 10. It was called Craftsmanship, the Key to Better Artwork. And it's something I've kind of had to remind myself of a couple of times recently. Is that, and it's that, again, it's the quantity, and issue, but it's kind of put into practice. You can, again, like crank out work left and right, but unless you're making the conscious effort to maybe polish up the canvas, like sand it out, or an extra layer of gesso, or working on paper, like or maybe like watercolor, you're making sure you're actually taping down the paper and it's secure. It's the extra bit of care you take in either creating your design or creating it and putting it onto whatever substrate or material you're going to do. It's a level of that level of craftsmanship, the level of you're producing something. So it's not just about the design, it's not just about sort of the art itself, it's about what it's on. It's about how you display it. It's about how people are going to perceive it. You know, you could scribble something on a piece of paper and tape it to the wall. Or you can actually cut the paper rather than ripping it. You can put a mat on it, frame it, put it on the wall so it's actually presentable. There's that extra layer of time where you take a step back and slow down. People want to rush through artwork a lot, especially younger artists, because they want the result more than they want the process. And I've talked about that in the past. But the real core of craftsmanship is that idea of slowing down, using the quality idea of being conscious of it. You know, if you're just mindlessly going about things, that's not practicing art. You're just, you know, if you want to practice art, if you want to, you know, be a successful professional artist, or even a successful hobbyist, and an artist that actually is like well disciplined in that way. It's like, yeah, you got to produce a lot of stuff, but you got to be conscious of what you're producing, and exactly how you go about that is, I think, really, really important. So that's some stuff that's been on my mind this week. We're getting close to the end of the year here, so a couple of upcoming videos are. It's going to be like maybe 3 more plus the outtakes. So some couple of more things coming in December, but after that it'll be ramping up for the new year and everything like that, so that should be good. If you're watching this sometime after this goes up in November of 19, then nothing I said makes a difference, but I feel like I at least bring it up now. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with me. Thoughts in my head, stuff like that. If you enjoy these little philosophical rants of mine, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Like the video, helps things out. I have a whole playlist on the channel called Philosophy of an Artist. It's all the parts of this video plus three parts of another series. So if you kind of want to dive into this idea, like the ideas of creating, the ideas of how to be a successful artist and how to be an artist that can really push their work further, then you're going to find that in that playlist. So again, subscribe if you're not already. Check out my stuff on Patreon, DeviantArt, Facebook, Instagram, all the fun social links. They're available in the description box below. And this has been Cinderblock Studios. Keep on creating, and I'll see you guys next time.